Hey everybody, this is Doug Zanes. Thank you for tuning into my weekly radio program. Today I want to talk about taxes and your personal injury settlements, and how all of that works. I mean, it's a question that we get pretty frequently, and it is tax season. Today is March 30th as I record this, and so I think the timing's about right. We have those of you who have listened to my show before know that I'm a personal injury lawyer. We have my firm is Zanes Law. I have offices in Tucson and Phoenix, Arizona, and we're one of the bigger personal injury firms in the state. We handle thousands of personal injury cases every year, for lots of clients who have been hurt in lots of different ways, and in the end, receive varying resolutions to their cases when it comes to how much money they get. But one question that's pretty common across the board is people wonder what are the tax consequences of the money that they're receiving. And so I want to start by saying that question should always be posed to whoever is doing your taxes for you, whether it's using a CPA or H&R Block or whoever you use to do your taxes. That question does need to be posed to them. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. I'm a lawyer, and I'm not a tax lawyer. So certainly taxes aren't my expertise. So I can tell you what my understanding has always been and what we tell our clients. But then we also tell our clients that they need to speak with an accountant, as a follow-up to our conversation, because, again, we're not accountants, and we could be wrong depending on the circumstances, the situation, and depending on your tax circumstances. That varies from person to person to person. But my understanding is it's always been pretty straightforward. And in general, any personal injury case resolution, whether it's a verdict at a trial or a settlement or a decision at an arbitration, however that resolution comes about, if there's any portion of your case resolution specifically for lost wages that's been delineated specifically for lost wages, that is taxable. Because if you had been able to work and earn that money, you would have paid tax on that money when you earned it. And so that is taxable, and that has to be reported on your taxes, and you have to pay tax on it. I can tell you in most cases that we've worked on over the years, there's never been a part of a case resolution that specifically is qualified as wage loss. But it's possible. For example, the idea that comes to mind for me is at a jury trial, when we present a case and when our attorneys talk to a jury about the case value and what they would like the jury to award our client. If our client does have lost wages, or money that they're out because they weren't able to work, that's presented to the jury in a very specific way, and the jury is asked for a very specific amount for wage loss. And if a jury were to come back and specifically award X amount of money for lost wages, that would be taxable. Presumably on that note, if you were awarded a specific amount of money for future wage loss, because you're not able to work or work in the same capacity, presumably that would be taxable. But again, you got to talk to your accountant. And so I know you guys who are listening are saying, well then, Doug, why are you even talking about it? If you can't give us the answer for sure, why are you talking about it? And the reason is because I want you to have a general understanding. It's just like all our cases. I mean, every case we work on is different based off the facts of the case. and how it happened, where it happened. Every jurisdiction is different. And so, for example, you have state taxes and you have federal taxes. There are states that have no state income tax. There's other states that have a high state income tax. And so every state is conceivably different as well. So you can't just take what we're talking about today at face value. It's general information to give you a basic understanding. But when it comes to your taxes, again, you've got to talk to your accountant or your tax professional if you've received some sort of monetary award from a personal injury case. Now remember, there are lots of other legal cases too. If you receive a monetary award based off of some real estate lawsuit or claim, I have no idea how that would work. I mean, we don't handle those cases. We only handle personal injury cases. And in the personal injury arena, reimbursement or compensation for wage loss is the big area where you potentially need, have tax consequences as part of your personal injury award. My understanding has always been the monies you receive for pain and suffering, the monies you receive for the inconvenience of being injured and having to go through this, the monies that you receive for reimbursement of your medical expenses, that you don't pay tax on those. That's always been my understanding. That's the way that I've always seen it play out in my experience. But again, talk to your tax professional. And it's really is that straightforward. I mean, in a personal injury case, generally you're receiving monies for either your past medical expenses or future medical expenses. You're receiving monies for your pain and suffering. You're receiving monies potentially for loss of consortium. You're receiving monies for wages. And those are the main areas. And again, my understanding has always been really where you potentially have some tax consequences is for your monies that you receive for lost wages. So that's about it for today's show. Today's a short show. It's not a very in-depth topic. And again, I'm just trying to give you a cursory overview. But when it comes to the tax consequences of any personal injury settlement, what you need to understand is, yes, there can be tax consequences. You can owe taxes because of a personal injury settlement. So you need to speak to your accountant and get a clear answer to any specific questions that you have. Thanks for tuning in today, and until next week, have a great day.